Do you know what is the most important ingredient of a perfect lie? Today I'd like to talk about lies. I want to explain what, in my opinion, a good lie, a stubborn lie, a long lasting lie is made of. Because not every lie is the same. And I don't want to talk about simple lies. I don't want to explain how you should lie that you did not eat the last piece of chocolate. I would like to talk about serious lies, lies that are believed by a lot of people. So, what makes a good lie? The first ingredient must be the truth. In every good lie, there must be some elements of truth. Because if the lie would be 100% lie, I would like to say that nobody would believe it, but that's not true. Some people would believe it anyway. But if you want to tell a lie to a lot of people, if you want to be successful with a lot of people, your lie must incorporate some elements of truth. The second element is not strictly necessary to create a lie. A lie can live without it. But if you create a lie and you don't deliver the lie, this lie is useless. So, this element is enforcement. And if we are talking about enforcing a lie to a lot of people, there are two organizations that come to mind. One is the state, and the other is the church. Those two organizations have a lot of practice in delivering us lies. And the third ingredient is, in my opinion, the most important one, even though we never talk about it. These ingredients are safety protocols. These safety protocols can make a lie last for centuries. These safety protocols are playing with our emotions. I will first try to explain what I mean with a short story. Why am I choosing this story? Because it it is simple enough that maybe I will not hit any safety protocols of basically anyone, because it's a very simple story. When I was a child, in the first year of school, we were playing war, we were playing partisans and Germans. And my friend in school had a homemade gun, a wooden homemade gun. And when we were playing outside, somebody broke his gun, and we didn't know who it was. And I, I felt sorry for him, so I was stressing all the others, uh, asking them who broke it, who broke it. It was a very nice gun. Who broke it? And my teacher took me aside and said, he's already said that he doesn't have a gun anymore. You don't have to remind him too much that the gun is gone. It doesn't really matter who broke it. I guess she understood that there is no much hope that we will find who really broke it. But the advice was good. He was already sad. Why would I make him even more sad by constantly reminding him that the gun was broken. And now let us make a hypothetical different story. In this story, there is no teacher, and I am trying to make my so called friend miserable. So I would go on and on and on. Who broke the gun? This was the best gun. He had such a beautiful gun and he doesn't have it anymore. So who did it? This is such an injustice. Somebody broke his gun. Who did it? It was the best gun. Who did it? And then a boy would come along, a boy that would know what my teacher told me in the previous story, and he would approach and say, you know, it was just a wooden gun. Okay, it's gone, but it's no big deal. You can make another gun. It was just a wooden gun. And then I would be able to say, you are so insensible. It was his favorite gun, and you are saying that it was no big deal. How dare you? How dare you talk like this about his gun? I hope that with this story I was able to explain how our emotions, our feelings can be weaponized. Because the next story is more real, it's very real. And I will lose many people with this story. But I want to I want to say with all honesty, I will talk about a lie. But the lie is not what you think it is. Listen listen to me to the end, because your safety protocols will kick in very strongly. So I must start with telling you that I respect, not respect, I believe in love. I believe in love between people, any kind of people. I believe in finding the right person. I believe in living together. I believe in having a family. I believe no less in these things than any other person, those that do believe in these things. I I will not talk against love, against family, against none of those things. But I will tell you that marriage is a lie. Did I lost you already? Marriage as a legal thing, the marriage license is not what you think it is. Nowadays, people marry for many different reasons. Some do because everybody does it. Some do because for the practical reasons, for the legal reasons, and some do because they want to express their love. I know a couple, I know there are numerous such couples out there, but this couple was very close to me, and they wanted above all things to express their love to the world. And they did it through getting married. And they still love each other like the first day that they met, I guess. Certainly like the day that they got married. But how does that change the fact that the marriage is not what people think it is? or better, that it does not represent what people think it represents. It does not. First of all, I don't think that you need a piece of paper to express love towards each other, and that you don't need a piece of paper to demonstrate to others that there is love between you and another person. But now let's go to the most important part: what marriage is and what does it represent? Why do we marry? Did you ever question how did marriage came about? It sounds like the most natural thing, but is it? Who invented it and why? We often forget that we have marriage as it is today since 1900, more or less. Marriage were usually arranged, sometimes before birth, but usually soon after birth. We are, as individuals, we are subjects of the state. Our name and our number shows that we belong to the state. We are legally and economically an entity that belongs to the state, but that can operate semi autonomously in this system of ours, whatever the system. When we get married, we get a license to operate as one entity, two people as one legal, one economical entity. And because of that, we can now inherit one from another. We can do certain legal things one for another, and so on and so forth. Nowadays, this is all the extent of the meaning of being married. But things used to be much worse. If we want to understand what marriage represents, we have to look at what marriage was. Not so long ago, land was the most important thing. And it was not the same if you were born as a boy or as a girl, if you were born the first or the second or the 10th. In Slovenia, we have a lot of stories about boys who were the 10th child. They had to leave home. The first son usually got the land. And if you had a daughter, you had to sell the daughter. Not that somebody would buy it. If you want to give it away, you had to give that family some money. It is called dowry. In my country, sometimes it's not a usual thing anymore, but sometimes people still do that symbolically, but they still bring something as dowry. So marriage was just business, nothing more, just business. Marriage was prearranged by parents long before you knew what marriage is. And if you were lucky, you were in the position to inherit your land. If you were unlucky, you remained without home. If you were a woman, your family would you would be basically a burden for your family because they would have to give you away together with a cow or something, whatever the payment was. And if you think that love was involved, sometimes for those that were very lucky, but this is not centuries ago. This is our grandparents, grandmothers that used to explain what sex is. You lay on your back and you wait until it's over. This was the romance of marriage. And if you think that this is just a result of the economic situation of that time, think again. The lies goes deeper and the lies is stranger than you think. Another very romantic aspect of a marriage nowadays, especially for Christians, is the first night. Because you don't have, you don't have, you must not do anything before the first night. And the first night is the night when you consume your love with your loved one. Yes, maybe today, but it was not so. The first night belonged to the landlord. And if the landlord wanted the right energy, the energy of the virgin, he needed the church to implement a lie that it is immoral to have sex before marriage. This way, he was almost certain that when he would have the first night with every woman under his jurisdiction that would get married, it would be a night with a virgin. And they knew, as certain people nowadays know, there is certain energy that you can get from a virgin you don't get from a woman that is not a virgin anymore. So it worked out nicely. But this is a lie. Marriage is a lie that was constructed and promoted by the state, by landlord, and by the church. How many of you are still following? I told you that best lies are protected by safety protocols that play with our emotions and our feelings. But all I can do is tell you again, I respect everything that has to do with love, with family, with people finding each other. But I don't respect marriage. Why is nowadays someone who dares to say that doesn't respect marriage treated like an insensitive person? It's because of safety protocols. And I know that some of you will say, Simon, why are you talking about the past? Marriage in the past was one thing, and marriage today is another thing. I don't know. I don't know if that's really true. Because what is marriage today? Marriage through today's tradition. And tradition is nothing else than honoring the past. So be careful what you are honoring. And I will stop here with this one example of a perfect lie. Do you want to know how many such lies exist? You don't want to know. So, my friend, what can I tell you? Maybe I can give you a tool with which you can spot lies. Lies like the one I was talking about today. I don't know how you can find out who ate the last piece of chocolate, but for the big lies, many years ago, I came out with this sentence: if you cannot laugh about it, it's not real. You can use it with another word. If you cannot laugh about it, it's not true. Try to use this method to find out what is a lie and what is not. If your ego is telling you that it is pointless to like, comment, and share my video with your friends, don't always listen to your ego. Listen to your heart, my friend.